Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning and welcome to the application support webinar from Milton Keynes Accelerator. My name is Andrea. I am Accelerator Program Manager at Connected Places Catapult. And today we are going to talk about the recently launched Milton Keynes Accelerator. We will provide you with an overview of the program, challenges, guidance on the application process, and hopefully answer a lot of questions that you might have. So please feel free to use the Q&A box down below and ask questions throughout the presentation that we will get to those at the end. Today we have as speakers to Ellie, who is going to help us with the Q&A section. She is the program lead at Connected Places Catapult. Arnold, co-founder and CEO of True Altitude. He's going to provide more information about the business support offering. And Brian Matthews, Head of Transport Innovation of the Council, is going to talk about the Council expectations, goals, and explain the challenges. Next slide, please. Well, I will start by giving you a brief overview of Connected Places Catapult, also known as CPC. We are part of the Catapult network, which brings together 9 leading technology centers spanning over 40 locations across the UK. We are an independent, not-for-profit organization sponsored by Innovative UK. And Connected Places Catapult leads in sectors of strength such as mobility, built environment, critical infrastructure, health and well-being, public services, and decision-making. We connect businesses and public sector leaders to cutting-edge solutions to spark innovation and grow new markets. One of the ways in which we do this is to accelerate programs. Next slide, please. Well, Connected Places Catapult has demonstrated a strong track record over the past 4 years in leading and delivering accelerated programs that focus on industry challenges, such as intelligent mobility and built environment. To the day, our team has delivered 7 accelerated programs with a total of 13 cohorts and over 100 SMEs that have been supported. Here you can see the different programs that we have run during the past 4 years. Next slide, please. Well, the program, the Milton Keynes Accelerator is a new program sponsored by the Milton Keynes Council, designed to support SMEs with innovative solutions which can improve connectivity and thus urban sustainability in the city. The program is supported by a group of strategic industry partners, including the Centre MK, one of the UK's top shopping destinations based in the heart of Milton Keynes, Amy, a company that manages infrastructure and public services across the UK. It's one of the top 5 support services suppliers in the country. Socials is a developer focused on transforming underutilized sites in major towns and cities into successful, thriving, mixed-use destinations. They are currently working in a project for one of Milton Keynes' most recognized buildings, the Saxon Court. And we have Elisa. It's a pioneer in telecommunications and digital services in Finland. The program will be delivered in partnership with True Altitude, an SME investment and corporate venturing specialist. They will support the SMEs through a bespoke program tailored to the business needs. And well, Arnold is going to explain a little more about it later. And we have the support also of Foundry Europe, a venture builder specializing in facilitating commercial growth with the European marketplace. And also we'll be selecting and supporting 10 SMEs with TRL 6 or more, and they will join a 6-month program. Next slide, please. The main aim of the program is to maximize commercial engagement. So selected SMEs will actively explore trial opportunities in testbed facilities owned and operated by the Council and our strategic partners. So you will have multiple spaces in the city to test your products as highways, car park, and other open spaces. So you basically are going to have the city as a test bed. Also, you're going to have access to a bespoke business support, including pitch coaching and VC support, investment readiness. You're also going to have access to technical experts from CPC, introduction to potential customers. And at the end of the program, we will have a demonstration day to investors, industry, and potential customers. So now Brian is going to talk about the council perspective. Brian, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. So if we can move on to the next slide. And first of all, it's a real pleasure to be able to introduce this session this morning. We're really excited about the program we are developing. This is our second venture into such a program, and as Andrea mentioned, we have sponsored a previous accelerator program. So my name is Brian Matthews. I'm Head of Transport Innovation at the Council. So forgive me that some of my focus will be on transport and mobility, but that shouldn't be seen as the only aspect we're looking at in this accelerator program. This project is co-sponsored by my colleague Sophie Lloyd, who unfortunately can't make this morning, and she leads our economic development team. So between the two of us, we will be supporting the program as we move forward. So next slide, please. For those who may not know Milton Keynes too well, we are located, as you can see from the map, midway between London and Birmingham, a new city conceived from 1967, and we're now at a size of some nearly 300,000 people, and it remains one of the fastest growing cities in the UK. And that growth is going to continue. We've just published exciting plans that will see the city almost double in size over the next 20 to 30 years. And the plan on the left shows how the city will expand into the surrounding areas as part of the Cambridge Milton Keynes Innovation Arc. This is all really exciting, but it puts tremendous pressure on the city as it grows. And we need to understand how we can sustainably deliver that level of growth that maintains the success that Milton Keynes has previously enjoyed and wants to continue in the future. So we're very much looking at new solutions, innovations around how we can support the city's development. So next slide, please. One of the approaches we've taken in understanding how the city grows is to really develop the city, as Andrea mentioned, into an urban laboratory, opening up the city as a test bed to allow new innovations to thrive and develop in a real world environment. We understand that much of this can take place in private land outside the gaze of the public, but we want to understand as a city how they can support and be deployed in a real world environment and test against the objective the city's set. So here's a few examples of where we've approached, and again, forgive this is a mobility focus, but we are looking in the same approach to other aspects of city growth and development, such as logistics, healthcare, development. So you can see we've had some quite exciting innovations delivered into the city. And if I can just pick out one or two of those that we can cover in a little later, is Milton Keynes is probably the only city in the UK with its own privately operated standalone pure 5G network. This covers the majority of the city, linked to a fibre backhaul and linked to a data exchange facility. So this is very much in our gift to support accelerator programs and businesses developing this as a new solution. So very much it is an aspect that we want to promote and potentially use within this program. The other area that we've learned is if you look at the logistics robot delivery service, this again is working with a new startup several years ago to develop the concept of how these could operate in the city. And it's only through the application and actually using these in anger on the city streets that we've learned that these make a valuable contribution to the city. And this business now has grown into the world's largest robot delivery service with 200 devices operating on a daily basis. And they've just covered over 1 million miles in delivery. So some of the aspects that we are open to as a city to be really innovative, creative in applying some of the solutions in a real world environment. And as mentioned, we can open up our city to support the ambitions that we will share with you. So next slide, please. But in all of this, we've got to cognizant of the current situation we're in with post-COVID, and the council has set out quite ambitious plans to recover from the impacts of COVID, but also take the opportunity not to do more of the same, to actually start to think about how our recovery plan can build on some of the lessons we've learned through the pandemic and really explore new ways to do things, because we want to take something good out of the pandemic. We don't want it all to be bad. So we want to learn how we can develop and support growth in a different way, as I say, to meet our immediate needs of growing as a fast-growing city, but also do things that are more sustainable and support the community a little bit more. So there's a few lists of some of the things that we're up to in terms of supporting the economy grow initially. And we've got an exciting program that Sophie can talk to later in the process around how we're working with SMEs and other areas to support this level of growth and new beginnings. And I'll come on to a little bit later, a case study of how we've delivered our 5G network as a test bed and supported this in developing business opportunities. So next slide, please. I think this has probably been covered by Andrea. It's just a repetition of the program we put together, but really to emphasize, this is a program that is being funded by Milton Keynes Council in partnership with the Connected Places Catapult as our support body, working with the companies that Andrea introduced. And what we want to deliver is the high value employment and business growth opportunities that strengthen the area's growth potential. And from that, creating skills to compete on the world stage. It's a clear ambition of the council that we want to be a world's leading city. And this is part of the program we're putting together. As mentioned, we want to focus on sustainable recovery for the post-COVID area, green recovery, addressing carbon challenges, and all of the things that are a risk to the city growing. And so to the next slide, where I'll try to set out the challenges that we've put within this program. And it's really building on the word connecting. We want to integrate these services into a city that thinks differently, uses smart city capabilities to really look to the future of how we develop as a city. So it's around connecting mobility. And that's not just about having connected vehicles or autonomous vehicles. It's the full integration of mobility services, how we make sure that we develop the best use of our assets. We enjoy a lot of assets within the city, but doubling in size, we know we can't double the amount of roads, car parking, but how do we use the infrastructure better than we're currently using it? And again, the interconnectivity around how we get information to people who are wanting to travel and how it links into their daily lives and challenges. The second challenge is around decarbonisation. I think all cities face this as a challenge, and we want to develop sustainable mobility opportunities. This might not necessarily just be by turning cars into electric. It's about integrating thinking, behavioural change through better information and data. And the third challenge is really about the wider connectivity within the community. So how we give better information to citizens, to businesses, to enable them to make better choices in how their business develops or how they move around or how they are more sustainable in their growth. So a set of interlinked challenges that we've set out that we want to address within this program. And as I said, repeating the objectives is about delivering high value business growth opportunities and really enhance Milton Keynes as a city moving forward. So next slide, please. And very quickly to finish off, just by way of an example, this is a program. This relates to a program we ran last year, looking specifically at the 5G. It's around having the city having its vision, which I hopefully I've set out and others can reinforce, and then using that capability to develop new products and services and business opportunity through a range of proof of concept trials, leading to commercial deployment. So that's very much the process we want to deliver through this accelerator program. So next slide, please. In this area, the set of challenges we looked at within the 5G world was around mobility. Again, many of the things I've already talked about, but also looking at health and energy two of the other aspects of the city growth that delivers a degree of risk if we don't meet those challenges head on, and understanding how we use our healthcare system and energy in the future. And through this program, we and similar to this one, brought in 10 companies who worked through the process that we're going to go through on this one to deliver some useful solutions that we are taking forward. So next slide, please. And this is the range of partners that we are currently working with in many of our programs. And as part of the introduction, many of these will be on hand to give expert support and advice to this cohort. They're all very committed and been long-term partners within Milton Keynes. So there's some very high-powered companies there that can support us. And just as an example of the success we feel came out of the first cohort is as recent as last night, I was talking to an American investment bank who are looking to invest in one of the cohorts moving forward to look to deploy some of their technology beyond Milton Keynes into other cities across the UK and indeed the US. So that was a very exciting prospect. We've also about to announce that we have secured funding through an EU initiative. Again, this is investment in one of the cohort that we took through the 5G program, and this will see delivery of some of their mobility services across the city over the next 2 years. And we know that there's some funding coming through the DFT very soon. And again, several of the cohort that we worked with on the 5G Accelerator program are all lined up to be part of that program. So we do know this type of thing works. The 5G program has created over £5 million investment in Milton Keynes in the first year of its operation. So we're very excited about the prospect of this and moving forward. So that's about it from me. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll be on hand to answer any questions as we move through the morning session. So thank you.
Hey, hey everyone. I assume that's my talking point. I didn't hear from Andrea. I'm going to jump straight in. My name's Arnold. Unlike the title at the beginning, I probably just make a quick correction there. I'm sadly not the CEO and the founder, but I am one of the lead principals at our fund. And a little bit of background about us. We're a sort of a hybrid of a VC and a venture builder. And what we mean by VC is pretty straightforward. We invest in fast growth technology companies. We have a keen interest in businesses who have taken support to prove their concept and test out their technologies in situations just like the MK program. We've supported 130, we call them entrepreneur-led, but that's pretty self-explanatory. So entrepreneur-led companies to raise over $600 million in capital to date, with 41 businesses in our portfolio. So we're active investors. We're always looking for new technology. But behind the scenes, like most VCs are doing these days, we spend a lot of time working with our portfolio companies and also businesses in programs like the Milton Keynes Accelerator. And what we do there is pure venture building. We are all experts, and some of us are actually entrepreneurs and angel investors ourselves within the company. So we have experience of starting from the ground floor and working our way up to exits and IPOs. So we've got an enormous amount of experience. Transacting capital is one of those sort of uses of that experience. But on our day-to-day work, we spend a lot of time helping companies get to that next level of growth. And whether that involves getting them ready to raise capital, or whether it is taking on larger clients for an international expansion, we work everything from the finances all the way through to the company structure for scale. Can we go to the next slide, please? So when we work on programs like this, venture builders these days sort of have a bit of a challenge, because obviously later stage companies are quite progressed, so they know where they're wanting to head, and they understand that there are going to be some hurdles. So what we mean by bespoke venture building is every company gets a unique set of treatments from us, whether that is light touch or more in depth. We've pretty much got every single expert within our company when it comes through to technology. We've got technology experts that we lean on in due diligence. We've got IP specialists and strategies which help us make sure that the technology can be scaled safely globally. And obviously, we've got these targeted workshops that we put together where we get to work with you on a one-on-one basis, hopefully on a weekly or bi-weekly sort of structure throughout the next 6 months to help you achieve that next level of growth. Next slide, please. So we keep the program structure incredibly simple. We focus on 3 main drivers of value: data, talent, and revenue. And I'll just quickly touch on each one of these because they don't necessarily mean things like big data. What we mean by data capturing is, has this company put everything in place to make sure that everything it's done to date is by design, and everything it will be doing forwards has a structure and sort of, helps them achieve that next scale of growth. So that's what we mean by the data capturing ability of a company. The next, which is probably the most important throughout any growth stage of a company, is the talent structure. This isn't necessarily new hires or replacing people, but it is the way your talent in your business is structured for scaling. Very different to just key skills and personalities. This is about how people can build teams that are resilient when they grow through all their different phases. And then obviously revenue generation. I don't need to touch on that too much, but what we mean by revenue generation is more the makeup of your revenue, dissecting that, making sure that you're talking to the right clients at the right time to allow that growth of your business. Next slide, please. So our venture builder process, we call it the slingshot process. It starts very simply for the companies lucky enough to join the program. We'll start off with a discovery phase, which leads us into a general audit. The general audit follows some unique methodologies that we use internally for making decisions on placing capital within businesses. And it also allows us to see where the gaps and the opportunities are within a company that we are meeting. We can do that relatively quickly. It can be anything from a day to 2 days max. Following that general audit, we move into a specialist studio situation. This is usually post money for us. So within this program, you're getting to experience what we would do in building our own portfolio companies, but we're doing this for the cohort of the businesses in the MK process. The specialist studio will allow us to put specialists within our company. So as I mentioned, someone from finance or someone from HR, maybe someone from intellectual property background, or maybe some technology experts within the business. Obviously, our huge black book of connections will be opened up to all the businesses in the program. And in those specialist studio workshops, we get some nice one-on-one sessions that follow from that general audit so that we can move into phase 4, which is creating impact in your business and also across the program. During this process, we will also be engaging the corporate partners that were listed before. So all the corporate partners that are part of this program are active investors and also collaborators in the SME space, always looking for new technologies to apply within their portfolio. But more importantly, it is the environment that makes us able to exercise these kind of 4 stages throughout this program, and that's provided by Milton Keynes. So Milton Keynes for us is our proof of concept, our testing environment. The corporate partners are opportunities for potential commercial collaboration, and obviously ourselves involved in the program. We will treat you as if you've become part of our portfolio and offer you that same value set. I believe there's one more slide. If not, no, we're moving on to the selection process. So thank you very much, guys. I myself am an exited entrepreneur in the mobility and electric vehicle space. I've got a keen interest in sort of B2B hardware businesses that are sort of data centric, but we've got everybody in our team across everything from financial technologies all the way through to B2B e-commerce and back end sort of more supply chain driven technologies as well. So thank you very much, guys, and over to either Ellie or Andrea.
Thank you, Arnold. Well, a selection process. First, you need to submit an application on our website, no later than Sunday, April 24. So you still have about 3 weeks to apply, but I would recommend you don't leave it until the last minute. So if you have any questions, we can actually help you with. And once the applications are closed, we will have 2 weeks to review and score all the applications from April 25 until May 6. And we will select a short list of 20 SMEs that will participate in the next stage, which consists on 2 parts, the technical due diligence and commercial due diligence. So the technical due diligence is a 30 minutes one-on-one interview with technical experts from CPC. This interview will be around the innovation of the technology, if it is a feasible solution, the impact it could have as a sustainability. So this is very much lucky looking at your proposition from a technical standpoint, and we recommend you to bring your CTO or someone with a technical background. The technical interview will take place on 10 and 11 of May. Then we are going to have the commercial due diligence, where you will be assessed by our program partners. It's a 5 minutes presentation followed by 10 minutes of Q&A. This interview will be focused on the product, business model, team traction, understand the market, and competitors. And the final interview will take place on May 17th. So we will send you an individual invitation with all the details to join to these sessions, and they are going to be virtual. We are expecting to have the cohort selected for May 23. So the program is going to start on June. We are going to have the welcome event on June 8th. Then we are going to have the 6 months of program. And at the end, we will have the demo day on November. Next slide, please. Okay, how to apply? It's important to know there are 2 steps to apply. First, you need to create a profile with your basic information, and then you will be able to submit the applications. I just want to clarify this because it's a bit confused, and sometimes there are people that only create a profile and believe they already applied for the program, but you still need to complete the application form with the business information. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to the website to apply. And well, of course, the deadline is Sunday 24, as I mentioned before. And regarding the eligibility criteria, we are looking SMEs with a TRL of 6 or more. It means company that has a validated prototype and can demonstrate some market traction. We are also looking innovative solution that address one or more of the challenges, and companies that are interested to trial and work in the Milton Keynes area. This is an important bullet point because I have received a lot of questions asking if the SMEs need to be based in Milton Keynes. And the answer is no, the SME just need to have an interest in trial and work in the city, and also be willing to travel to some activities that we are going to do in the city. And well, of course, having commitment and willingness to engage with the program and get the most of it. Next slide, please. Okay, we will be scoring the applications against 4 criteria, and all of these carry the same weight. So the first one is the solution. Here we want to understand if the product is innovative with a clear, unique selling proposition, if the SME has developed its technology in-house, and we would like to understand the benefits to adapting this technology, for example, cost saving improvement, the impact that is having in the community, in the environment, etc. And it's really important to use concrete examples about the benefits, not only mention them. The criteria number 2 is the traction. Here we want to know if you already have any traction, if the products satisfy the market, if you're working with clients in the industry and know who are those clients, and also understand if you have a sustainable growth plan for the future. Regarding the team, we are looking for applicants to demonstrate that their team has the necessary skills, knowledge, and background to deliver. So rather than just listing out the team member's name, I will recommend you to tell us a little bit more about who the team members are and what they bring to the table. And finally, the program. Here we will be assessing if the solution presented aligns with the challenge areas that we are focusing on, and if the trial proposed will be feasible to achieve in the duration of the program, and if there is a clear roadmap for scaling. So if you are a bit early stage, it's also important to demonstrate that you can realistically deliver the trial, and the tech is ready. So next slide. Well, we're in the Q&A section. Most of the information explained here is on the portal, so you can scan the QR code. It should take you straight to our portal where you can submit your application. And anyway, if you have any question after this webinar, please contact me. Here is my email, and I'll be happy to answer any doubt that you have. So I leave you with my colleague Ellie for the Q&A section.
Right. Hi, everyone. I haven't seen any questions pop in the box yet, so I'll just give everyone a minute to submit any questions that they might have. All right, there's one. Okay, so the question is, to apply for more than one challenge, do you need to submit a separate application for each challenge? The answer to that question is no. We often find solutions that fit in more than one challenge area. As long as you submit one application and you describe your solution well enough in that application, we can assign you to the best challenge that where we see the best fit. So I wouldn't worry about submitting multiple applications. One more question. Can we have more details about the 6-month program itself in terms of number of workshops, hours required from the team, deliverables, etc.? I might go to Arnold for that question, because True Altitude will be delivering the majority of the support program.
Sure. Thanks, Ellie. That's a really good question. So in theory, you can have a full spectrum of support from us. You can either dip in and out and suggest times that suit you. On average, looking at some programs that we've delivered before, we tend to be in touch with companies for at least half an hour, at least bi-weekly as a minimum course. So we would expect to be in touch with you at least twice or potentially 3 times a month. That can also be scaled up if required. So if you do need more sessions than that, we can face every single SME as a case-by-case situation. And as I mentioned, you'll be treated as if you are one of our portfolio companies. So we'll be able to be on hand for whatever task you need. It is advisory and more mentorship based. So we would obviously do a lot of work to get you prepared so that when we do have these workshops with either experts within our company or contacts that we have, that we prepare you as much as possible for those sessions so that you can accomplish a lot, within an hour or two.
Thanks, Arnold. I've got a few more questions here. Next, we're not currently at TRL 6, but should be when this program is due to start. Is it still okay to apply? And the answer is yes. So typically we say that we're looking for companies at level 6 to 8, but there can be some exceptions, especially if you're near level 6. That's absolutely fine. The reason that we're looking for that stage companies is because we want companies that have a solution that can actually be trialed in a controlled or a live environment, and typically that's 6 to 8. So, but if you're nearly at that stage, that's also fine. Next question, we've got quite a few actually. So that's great. Can we understand the outcome of the 5G accelerator to make sure we don't replicate any previous propositions? I might go to Brian for that one. Brian, are you okay to talk about that one briefly?
Yes, I think we've got a synopsis of the companies and initiatives involved in the 5G Accelerator program. So perhaps it's best if we publish them through the website of the companies and the initiatives that came through. And perhaps if I can go to, there's another question that I think is related to this just coming, are the challenges of the same importance and weight? Is there a limit to in terms of number of teams? Again, from the experience of the 5G Accelerator, we have the 3 areas we looked at, the 3 challenge areas: mobility, energy, and healthcare. And I think the split was 6-2-2 between those programs. We really looked at the submission and looked at it on the criteria that we went through from Andrea. So there's no set that it must be an equal balance. So we will look to the opportunities that arise and score them on an equal basis. And we also recognise that the challenges are cross-cutting. Some might fit into both challenge areas. So again, I think that was beneficial to explain in your application how your solution is actually may focus on one main challenge, but actually got relevance to the others.
Thanks, Brian. Just going through the list of questions here. Is there actual cash support during the program or purely advisory support? So that's a great question. The program is absolutely free. There's no equity attached to the program either. In terms of cash support, I guess that would be more in the form of paid trials. So like Brian mentioned, there is support available, but that would normally be attached to a trial that you would be doing with either with one of our partners or through another route that we might be able to support you with. But it's not R&D based, so you wouldn't be getting a set amount of cash once you get accepted onto the program, but support is definitely available. Let's see, what questions have we not answered? Does the solution have to have an immediate focus, or would a more general approach be welcome? I would recommend to apply with the specific solution that you have. Obviously, we can explore other opportunities, and then once you become part of the program, it might be that you pivot slightly, or it might be that we find other opportunities. But I would definitely recommend that you have a specific solution that you are applying with. I believe that's most of the questions that we have. Any other questions from anyone? I don't see any that we haven't answered. Yeah, I think that's all questions. But like Andrea said, please feel free to email us with any other questions, or if you're in the process of submitting your application and you're not sure about any of the actual questions or what is expected, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help. Okay, one more question actually. It's just popped up. Are there opportunities to collaborate with the existing partners and the new cohort? Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we've brought on board all of these amazing partners. We'll be exploring opportunities for all of the SMEs to engage with them. But what that engagement looks like will be determined based on the solution and the partners themselves as well. Could an approach be collaborative with another SME? Yes, we have had that before. Yeah, I wouldn't disregard that. If you'd like to apply as a joint solution, or if you'd like to explore, we've also had companies actually collaborate on the program itself. So they actually meet on the cohort and then end up working together, and that's great when that happens. So yeah, I wouldn't disregard that. And from outside of the UK, yes, so that's you're welcome to apply if you're not based in the UK, as long as you have an interest in the Milton Keynes area and you're actively looking to explore opportunities to work and settle in the UK. Oh, there's some more questions coming in. Great. In case we need hardware on the pilot project, shall we plan all the spending on our own? What about installation work cost? Typically, we'd like to encourage partners to cover the cost for trials. So that is something that will be discussed with the partners themselves. But yes, typically pilots would be paid, and I'm assuming that cost would be covered.
Another question.
If so, can the engagement start before the application? I'm assuming this question is about engagement with the partners. Typically, we would introduce partners in the cohort once the cohort is selected. So you'd be engaging once you've been selected to join the program. Final question to anyone? No, I'll give people another maybe few seconds. All right, yeah, it looks like we have no more questions, but again, please feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We're more than happy to help. And thank you very much for joining us.